A wrong number isn't supposed to change your life. But when you are bleeding out on a sterile hospital gurney at 2:47 a.m., abandoned by everyone who was supposed to care, desperation guides your trembling fingers.
I thought I was dialing my ex-boyfriend. Instead, the voice that answered was velvet and smoke.
Hold on, I'm coming.
I thought it was a fever dream, an auditory hallucination brought on by blood loss. I was Aria Vance, a nobody, a forgettable medical transcriptionist who blended into the beige walls of the basement office until the temperature in the emergency room plummeted. The fluorescent lights flickered, as if the hospital itself was holding its breath. Then, the door to room 237 opened. The man who entered shouldn't have existed. He was 6.5 feet of barely contained lethal power. But it was his eyes that stole the breath from my failing lungs. They were amber, shifting to molten silver. He crossed the room in 3 impossibly fluid strides. Every instinct screamed 2 commands: run and safe.
Aria Vance, I am Lucien Blackwood, and I give you my word, you are going to live.
At 26, Aria Vance was a master of invisibility. She existed in that cruel beige middle ground. At the Portland hospital where she transcribed medical records, her supervisor still called her Anna. Her apartment was a drafty studio on the east side where neighbors avoided eye contact. Her sister, Serafina, was the golden child. Aria was the afterthought. Aria, sweetheart, maybe stand to the side so we can see Serafina's dress?
Aria's comfortable like a good couch, but Chloe is a Ferrari. You don't marry the couch.
Waking at 2:05 a.m. with blinding abdominal pain, she had driven herself to the ER. Take some ibuprofen. We're backed up. Unless you're dying, wait your turn. Aria lay in a storage closet, bleeding heavily. Serafina responded, wine tasting in Napa. Try not to be dramatic. Terrified, her vision tunneling, Aria tried to dial Tristan. Her blood-slicked fingers fumbled the keys.
Who dares call this line?
15 minutes later, Lucien Blackwood shattered the mundane reality of her life.
In 8 minutes, she will bleed to death internally. And you told her to take ibuprofen.
30 massive silver-coated wolves sat in perfect military formation in the pre-dawn fog.
Sleep, Aria. When you wake, everything will be different.
Aria woke to the scent of pine needles and fresh air. Her eyes fluttered open inside a high-end private suite.
You're awake.
You stayed.
Dr. Sterling treated your sudden medical condition, and you will recover completely soon. You dialed exactly the right number, Aria. That line is tied to a special hidden frequency.
Special? I meant to dial Tristan's number. I must have pressed wrong.
You dialed HOWL. I am Lucien Blackwood, leader of the Northern Lycan Territories. I oversee 3,000 pack members across lands stretching from Vancouver to the California border.
Shapeshifters?
Lycanthropes. Every inner instinct I have is set on keeping you safe.
Oh my God, Aria! I drove all the way here from Napa right away.
I'm the one who looked after your sister while you were away enjoying leisure time.
I told her not to overreact!
She reached out to a stranger because her own family made her feel unimportant. You may leave us now.
You didn't have to be so harsh with her.
Those who overlook you shouldn't get to pretend to care only when it's convenient. In 2 days, you'll come back with me to my lands. We'll uncover what makes you different.
I'm just an ordinary girl with nothing special.
You are someone my inner instinct deems precious.
And in my world, that makes you fit to stand beside me as my equal.
The journey to the Northern Lycan Territories begins now.
Your apartment lease was paid off. The king doesn't do things halfway.
Dressed in cashmere and dark denim, Aria was escorted into a matte black SUV. As they drove deep into the Cascade foothills, Lucien watched her from the opposite seat.
We are crossing the ward line, the magical barrier. If you are entirely human, you will feel nothing.
Aria gasped as they passed between two ancient stone pillars. It felt like walking through a waterfall of static electricity. Her nerve endings flared, and for a split second, she felt the forest, the ancient trees, the golden threads.
Dormant born, you have latent Lycan ancestry.
The SUV pulled up to a breathtaking estate. Dozens of massive wolves sat on the manicured lawn. The moment Aria's boots touched the gravel, every single wolf bowed their head.
They sense my interest.
Inside the vaulted entrance hall, beneath a chandelier of antlers, 7 figures waited. The senior court.
So this is the human who breached the veil. Underwhelming.
Careful, Alara.
There was Gideon, Julian, Tasha, and Ezra, who offered a kind, reassuring smile.
Treat her as your future queen. Anyone who forgets will answer to my claws. Rest. Tomorrow we find out if the universe has finally stopped playing games with me.
The medical wing of the estate rivaled a top-tier hospital. Dr. Aris drew Aria's blood while the entire court watched. Your healing is accelerated, Dr. Aris noted. Within 4 minutes, the cut had knitted itself closed. Definitely dormant born, but the ultimate test remains. Dr. Aris produced an ornate silver box and revealed a phoenix feather. It reacts to strong magical signatures, specifically to true mate bonds. He handed it to Lucien. The feather instantly flared a brilliant molten amber. Now, Aria, take it from the king's hand, Dr. Aris instructed. Aria reached out. The moment her fingers brushed Lucien's, the feather exploded into blinding light. The magic rushed into Aria's veins, feeling like honey and fire. Gideon gasped. Alara's eyes widened in rare shock. It is definitive. The mate bond is unequivocally real. Tomorrow is the blood moon. The bond will forcibly complete itself. Aria felt the room spin, a queen and immortal. She bolted from the room and ran until she reached the gardens. She collapsed on a stone bench, weeping. I can't do this. I'm a nobody. Bravery isn't the absence of fear, Aria, a voice rumbled. Lucien stepped out of the shadows, crouching before her. I have lived for 3 centuries. I have waged wars. And I have never been as terrified as I am right now. Aria looked into his silver-flecked eyes. He wasn't a monster. I don't want to run, she whispered. Lucien pulled her into his arms, burying his face in her hair. Then tomorrow night, we let the moon remake us. The day of the red moon was a blur of gentle preparation. Helpers assisted Aria in bathing with moonflower-infused water and placed a delicate silver bracelet engraved with symbols of good fortune on her wrist as a sign of the upcoming bond. It might feel a bit different, Nick said softly as she tied Aria's liquid silver silk gown. This special bond will be sealed with the silver bracelet and the light of the red moon. No marks, just a quiet connection between you two. When it's done, you'll feel like a new version of yourself, ready for whatever comes next. At dusk, Aria walked down a torch-lit path into a large forest clearing. Friends and family gathered around a steaming, softly glowing hot spring, their faces warm with excitement. Lucien stood at the front, handsome in black slacks and a loose shirt, his eyes fixed on her. As the sky turned indigo, the moon rose above the pines, a deep, rich red. "Do you accept this bond, Aria Vance?" Alara's voice rang clearly across the clearing. Aria looked at the man who had seen her when she felt invisible. "I accept. I choose him." The red moonlight wrapped around them like a warm veil. A soft golden glow appeared in the air, linking Aria's silver bracelet to a matching one Lucien wore, a gentle symbol of their sealed bond. Then, a warm, comforting tingle spread through her body. Light and pleasant, Aria closed her eyes, breathing steadily as the warm feeling washed over her. Her senses felt clearer than before, and she could hear the soft murmur of the people around them. Lucien stood close, holding her gently against his chest. "Stay with me," he whispered in her ear. "You are so strong, and this is just the start." The warm tingle faded, replaced by a rush of calm joy that made her smile brightly. She opened her eyes, and the world felt more vivid and beautiful than ever. She could feel Lucien's emotions, his awe, his deep love, softly touching her heart. "You are radiant," Lucien breathed. Alara stepped forward, holding a moonstone circlet. She placed it gently on Aria's head, her smile warm. "I am honored to present Aria Blackwood, loved by everyone in the northern lands." The forest filled with a loud, joyful cheer that echoed through the trees. Aria didn't feel invisible anymore. She felt seen, loved, and ready to embrace her new life. She was the heart of the gathering, bright and unshakable. The honeymoon period lasted exactly 12 hours. The next morning, the council chamber was a war room.
Alpha Darius Thorn of the Western Territories has formally issued a challenge. The Trial of Three. He seeks to prove the human-born queen is weak and unfit to rule.
It is a political power play. If Aria fails, the West will encroach on our borders.
3 trials: intelligence, survival, and character. The first trial begins in 1 week.
I don't know anything about supernatural politics.
Then we will teach you. We will train your body, and Alara will train your mind. You will not fail.
For 7 grueling days, Aria barely slept. Tasha taught her defensive combat. Alara drilled her on centuries of treaties, blood feuds, and territorial maps. Ezra taught her to navigate the golden threads of the pack bond. Through it all, Lucien was her anchor. He rubbed her aching muscles at night.
"You are brilliant. They won't know what hit them."
When Alpha Darius arrived, he looked at Aria like she was dirt on his boots.
The first trial is the mind. 2 packs are at war. What do you do, little queen?
I reject the premise of your scenario, Alpha Darius.
You forfeit?
I expose your flawed logic. A queen does not take sides. She elevates the territory as a whole.
She dismantled the trap and found a third option. She passes.
Fine, I invoke the acceleration clause. The second trial begins tomorrow at dawn.
What is the second trial?
The hunt. You will be dropped into the Blackwood Forest. You have 12 hours to evade my 5 best trackers. If they catch you, you fail.
Tristan and Serafina team up, plotting to leak fake stories about Aria to the press to ruin her reputation. Their leak backfires, exposing their own financial crimes and infidelity to the entire world. The canopy of the Blackwood forest was so thick it blocked the morning sun. Aria stood at the edge of the tree line.
I will burn the West to ash if they hurt you.
They have to catch me first.
At noon, a horn blasted. The hunt began. Aria used the streams to mask her scent. She crushed wild garlic and rubbed it on her clothes. She created 3 false trails leading into thorny ravines. For 4 hours, she evaded them. Her strength allowed her to leap over fallen redwoods.
Tasha, howl from the northern ridge now.
A massive howl echoed. The western trackers paused, diverted by the sound. Aria hid in the dense upper foliage. She watched as 5 wolves trotted beneath her. It shifted into human form. It was Kaelin Cross. Darius had cheated.
6 wolves. Darius had cheated.
I smell you, Queen. Come down, the game is over.
If you capture me, Darius will parade you. But he will also expose that he had to cheat. He will look weak to the Grand Council. Let fate run its true course.
You've got titanium ovaries, Your Majesty. Southern quadrant is clear. Run!
Aria ran until her lungs burned and the sky turned a bruised purple. Just as the sun kissed the horizon, she broke through the tree line.
You did it.
She survived, but the 3rd trial remains. Character. In 2 weeks, we will see what kind of heart this human possesses.
2 weeks later, the Grand Receiving Hall was packed with delegates from all over the continent. The 3rd trial was a public spectacle. Aria stood on the dais, her moonstone crown resting heavily on her brow. Darius stepped forward, a cruel glint in his eye.
A test of character, Queen Aria. A moral dilemma. A rogue wolf is captured on your lands. The penalty is death.
Aria kept her face blank.
However, you discover the rogue is under a blood curse. He is not in control of his mind. The curse can be cured by phoenix tears, taking 6 months. During those months, the wolf will be in agonizing pain. Execute him now, or imprison him in agony for half a year on the slim hope of a cure. What is your ruling?
Darius signaled his guards. They dragged forward a chained, thrashing young man. Aria recognized him instantly. Jace! Kaelin Cross fell to his knees in the gallery, weeping at the sight of his cursed brother. Choose execution. She murders an innocent boy. Choose imprisonment. She sanctions torture. Aria reached into the golden threads of the pack bond.
I reject your binary choice, Alpha Darius.
You cannot forfeit.
I am not forfeiting. I am ruling. I will not execute an innocent victim. Jace Cross will be placed in a magically induced stasis sleep. He will feel no pain. I personally will fund and lead the expedition to acquire the Phoenix Tears, no matter the cost or the time. A true queen does not choose between 2 evils. She forges a 3rd path to save her people. That is my ruling.
The hall was dead silent. Then, an ancient alpha began to clap. Soon, the entire hall was thundering with applause. Darius ground his teeth, his face purple with rage. But the delegation had spoken. He was forced to bow his head.
The Western Territories recognize Aria Blackwood as the true queen.
Aria Vance has finally secured her throne, proving herself to be the one true Queen of the North. The celebrations lasted for 3 days. The Northern Territory erupted into joyous howling that shook the snow from the pine branches. Aria stood on the balcony of her suite, looking out over the sprawling estate. She wore a simple silver slip, the cool night air feeling wonderful against her heated, immortal skin. The dormant magic in her blood was fully awake now, singing in harmony with the forest. Lucien stepped out onto the balcony, wrapping his massive arms around her waist from behind. He pressed a soft kiss to the curve of her neck, right over the mating mark he had placed there.
You destroyed him. Darius looked like he swallowed a lemon. The entire continent is talking about the Frostfire Queen.
I couldn't have done it without the court, without Alara's lessons, without Tasha's training, without you.
You did it because you are you. You spent your human life invisible, observing everything. You used the very thing that hurt you to become the greatest leader this pack has ever seen.
I'm not invisible anymore.
No, you are the center of my universe. And I plan to spend the next few centuries making sure you never forget it.
The queen is crowned, and the night belongs to her. Months later, the Northern Territory thrived like never before. Under Aria's rule, the pack built alliances with the East and South. Jace's curse had been successfully cured, earning the undying loyalty of Kaelin Cross, who became the captain of her royal guard. Aria walked through the hospital wing of the estate, reviewing charts with Dr. Ares. She wasn't transcribing notes in a basement anymore. She was directing the construction of a new supernatural medical academy.
My queen, there is a human at the border gates. She claims she is your sister. She is demanding entry.
Aria paused. Serafina. She walked to the security monitors in the guard room. There was Serafina, shivering in the cold, screaming at the towering Lycan guards about her designer shoes getting muddy, demanding to see her pathetic sister. Aria felt a momentary twinge of the old anxiety, but it evaporated like mist in the sun. She tapped the microphone connecting to the gate.
Serafina.
Aria's voice echoed out of the speakers, calm, resonant, and dripping with royal authority. Serafina jumped.
Aria, tell these freaks to let me in. I need to borrow money. Tristan dumped Chloe and came crying to me.
No.
What do you mean, no? I'm your sister!
You are a woman who told me not to be dramatic while I was bleeding to death. You do not belong in my world. You are excused.
Aria cut the feed. She didn't feel anger. She just felt free. She walked out of the security room and into the grand hall. Lucien was waiting for her at the base of the stairs, surrounded by their fiercely loyal court. His eyes flashed silver as she approached, full of absolute adoration. She took his hand, feeling the spark of their unbreakable bond. The invisible girl was gone, buried under the ashes of her old life. In her place stood a queen, fully seen, fiercely loved, and ready to rule forever.